Alright, y'all, I'm on a roll today. It's my 4th episode this week. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another video of mine. This time I'm back with Astrea's Broken Heart, Season 1, Episode 6. Y'all, I am invested with the storyline. And of course, I'm gonna be using as much as I can the Diamond Rush. Of course, like, my voice is suffering because of that, but let's just say God wants me to continue because my voice is fine. So let's just see what this episode will be like. I honestly don't remember what happened the last episode, even though I just finished it. Happens. How long can you continue to deny the unexplainable things happening around you? We had a cute moment with Mikel. Astrea's Broken Heart, Episode 6, What do you believe? That's the question, ain't it? As a child, Simona absorbed, among other things, a belief in the immortality of the soul. Her mother often said that if her daughter believed in it sincerely and ceaselessly, she would never be alone. More often than not, these words were frightening. They made Simona think about the inevitability of death, but in a way they also brought comfort. She knew that she would never be alone, no matter what happened. Poison in plastic cups and stray bullets became the best teachers there ever were within the walls of that small church. They spelled it out. Death was just death and nothing else. But still, in giving up her faith, Simona felt deep in her heart that her freedom came at the cost of robbing her mother of the chance of resurrection. I need to, heighten this meaning. Her mother believed in God insanely much. And I feel like our character started having doubts in faith ever since she was young, when she refused to drink what was being passed around, and it hurt her mother. But she still tried to go to confession and to Sunday service because she knew that's what her mother wanted, and it's what her parents did. But when her parents were shot at a service, she completely gave up on faith, because it's not like she actually felt kind of forced into continuing to go there, even though she didn't truly believe in God. So she completely gave up her faith, and then believing, or more knowing, that her mother is dead, and she gave up on her faith. The faith was the reason that both her mother and us believed in resurrection. And since we gave up on our faith, it's we gave up on our resurrection, and that's also us giving up on the fact that we will ever be capable to see our mother again. I was afraid I would never hear her voice again. Right, now I remember. The last episode ended with us hearing the voice of our mother. So why am I so scared now? Her mother's voice echoed incessantly in her mind like a broken record. Did we tell Mikel? Her tear-filled eyes now seemed to flicker in every shadow. Every breeze carried the gentle touch of her mother's hands. But what they evoked was no longer a quiet pace, but a chilling horror. As much as Simona longed to have her mother back, she would now give anything in the world to regain her solitude. I don't need her shadow. Especially since she still, hasn't been capable to wrap her head around what happened that night. It's kind of like a black memory for her. She prefers to, move past that. She never really took the time to actually heal from that. It remains a huge-ass trauma for her. I have to pull myself together, figure out what's happening to me. Path of skepticism. I'm thinking about the supernatural too much. I'm starting to see it when there's nothing there. I wanted to hear Mom so badly, and so I did. The reassuring thought brought her no comfort. Alright, y'all. I need to ask this for the people in the comments section. What, or more if you have the other path, not the skepticism path, but the path of faith, how does your MC react to specific moments? Does she heighten the fact that supernatural is a thing or not? The reassuring thought brought her no comfort. I talked to people who would consult an unseen dead before answering my questions. They really heard all those voices, didn't they? So why can't I? The explanation fit perfectly into her already familiar worldview. Having found a compromise, Simona hurried back to her logical, safe life. But she was immediately confronted with a new problem. So I'm experiencing psychosis then? It's best not to think about it. You have to think about it, though. You're being confronted with it day after day ever since you came here. The drive home was a blur. Right after the call, Mikel told them to pack. Stunned, Simona couldn't even say a word. I'm pretty sure he noticed. She got the impression that everyone knew what had happened, but no one wanted to talk about it. Good thing I'm not alone right now. Why do you feel the need to not be alone right now? If everything's fine, you were alone the entire time. And for the people that don't understand what I'm trying to say with this, she doesn't want to be alone because she's petrified that if she is alone, she could see her mother or hear her mother's voice. And she has the feeling that she's losing her mind, drowning in solitude because her parents aren't there and she wasn't capable to connect with the people in the household just yet, as in a real connection that makes you want to experience everything that's going on with you with them. So she doesn't want to be alone right now out of fear that she could dwell in that psychological trauma, as in the fear of being confronted with pain is clouding her judgment right now. And she has the feeling the second she's alone, her nightmares could be haunting her. That's what happens when you're in a state of denial. That also will lead to you not being capable to fall asleep because you will fear that the second you close your eyes, your most painful trauma will be displayed in front of your eyes. As Felonia made tea, Simona found that she couldn't escape Michael's attentive gaze. He knows. He was there. It's he's trying to read my mind. Can he? If you want, I can stay with you tonight. She's being very sympathetic, even though I haven't said a word to them. I'm pretty sure Mikel said something. Is it written all over my face? Simona shook her head and took the cup. She tried to warm her icy hands so that Mikel wouldn't see her shiver. I'm fine, Fel. There is no need for that. You're very pale. What frightened you? There's no way in hell I'm saying it out loud. She felt that if she voiced her thoughts, they would immediately become real. What am I saying? What am I saying? State of denial. You refuse to say something out loud because as soon as you say it out loud, the reality of the situation is sinking in. So you prefer to not voice your opinion, yet allow your thoughts to torment you. But they remain within yourself, so you will keep on convincing yourself, it's nothing. Nothing is going on. I'm fine. This is some stupidity of mine. It will disappear in a few hours. This is just some stupidity that I've gathered because I'm not being observant enough. To put an example in here. The second you voice your trauma, you're out of the state of denial. And a lot of people will be immediately confronted with the pain of the reality of the situation, so they refuse to get out of the state of denial and prefer to remain in that delirium. They'd spill out of her mouth like dirty water, despairing her and making her sound like she'd lost her mind. I'd rather be smothered by these thoughts than admit to something in the job. I regret nothing, y'all. Why did we leave so abruptly? I'm definitely not because of my pallor. Yes. Undoubted by her sudden question, Mikel replied bluntly. I found the answers to my questions. Did you find a trace? This time Mikel didn't answer right away. He is assessing my condition again. Girl, he saw it, he ain't blind. But there was a tenderness in the cold blue of his eyes. And if Simona knew him any better, she would see in them a very unusual emotion for him. Anxiety. Anxiety for the sanity of such a fragile but brave young woman. No, I didn't. Here's someone who's certainly not afraid to sound a little unhinged. Are you going to them now? Trying not to add any unnecessary mystery, Mikel made sure to elaborate on his answer. Yes. I have to share my findings with my superiors, Simona, and I won't be here for a while. Why don't they visit us themselves and share some news with us? There is a problem, no news. Sighing tiredly, Felonia walked over to Simona and held out a business card with a phone number on it. Call me anytime. Honestly, love her. Again, diamond in a rough. Even if you just want to vent or chat, okay? Love her. I will come back to you. There wasn't a single decent reason to call, but for some reason Simona suddenly wanted to find one. You can always use a friend. Why not? You don't necessarily only need root in your life. It's okay to build new connections. Or I could call for no reason at all. I mean, what's wrong with that? Thank you. After Felonia went on her way, Simona left too. She took her teacup and said goodbye to Mikel, who was apparently going to report to management instead of taking a nap. Well, without undressing, Simona collapsed onto her bed and stared up at the ceiling. The shadows cast by the trees in the garden drew airy patterns on it, as if mocking her. Well, they sprawled overhead like serpents. She felt like if she blinked, they would immediately pile on top of her and begin to strangle her. Damn, girl, relax. And yet I heard her. Yes. But what did I say? Like, this is what's going to happen. She will prefer to have those thoughts actually torment her rather than her getting out of the state of denial. I definitely heard her. How can I explain this? Am I losing my mind? Are my nerves shot? Did my mom find a way to contact me? Marcus' soul hasn't left them. No, we're not losing our minds. I feel like our nerves are shot, especially if you are already psychologically fragile. You will turn into a nervous wreck because hope actually makes it possible. So, if you actually have the feeling that it could be possible for you to have the opportunity to get in contact with someone that you love and lost, belief makes it possible. Faith makes it possible. You will believe in the fact that you could hear your mother, and so you will hear your mother. Are my nerves shot? Have I got too much on my plate so my brain's playing tricks on me? What's next? Am I going to have one of these episodes after every case like this? These questions tore her mind apart. Sleep wouldn't come. What did I say? Insomnia? Even her tea, now cold and untouched, felt like a silent mockery, because her thoughts are actually keeping her from doing what she normally would. It's like trying to heal an open fracture with a bandage. An unsettling realization settled inside her. It was going to get worse. At Astrea, outside it, everywhere else, monsters from her childhood were bursting forth, battling for supremacy against real adult problems. The anticipation of something bad rose in a lump in her throat, restricting her breathing. Her heart pounded so hard that her vision darkened. The panic attack brought her to her feet, knocking the remaining oxygen out of her lungs. Damn it. I feel bad for her, but I did see it coming. Simona tried to grasp at something she could understand, something that could bring light into her world. She thought of, oh my god, we can see them all. I fucking hate this. Okay, who are we thinking about? The last time I went with David. Now Raphael, I haven't seen this bitch in such a long time, but I feel like... honestly, I'm debating between Mikel and CASSIEL. Why? Because he's impulsive and he already showed how much he cared about us. But I actually have the feeling that it would make a lot more sense if Mikel would be there. Mikel or Felonia, because they were there. But Mikel was the one continuing to look at us, because he knew that something had happened and he didn't actually want to force us to have to confront our trauma. But now that he saw it, Simona wrapped her arms around herself, closed her eyes and pictured Mikel's face in front of her. I could use his cool composure right now. I love that they are actually making her, gain an emotional attachment. / an anchor. You all know what I mean with an anchor. The real ones do. If he was here, he wouldn't let me lose it like this. Aww. In particular difficult moments, you think of Mikel. I mean, he is literally the calmest one out of them, and he actually seems to have his act together. And while it's always nice to have, someone actually joke around and, try to lift your spirits, like David is doing, for example, in moments like these, we would need someone that just listens to us, that looks at us, not with pity or actually looking at us as if he's truly concerned, but someone that is just willing to be there for us. Someone with a calm, cool composure that doesn't make us feel that our problems, or more what we're saying is crazy. Inhale, exhale. The panic subsided, the tingling in her limbs passed, and the fog in front of her eyes began to clear. Looks like it helped. She didn't want to go back to bed. It felt like all her fears lurked under the covers. I definitely shouldn't be alone right now, but it's not like I'm going to find anyone in the middle of the night. In an attempt to dispel the bad thoughts at least a little, Simona decided to go out into the garden to get some air. We need that. We really do. The pale light of the moon breathed life into the trees that cast airy shadows in her bedroom. Their branches rustled and creaked as they whispered among themselves, discussing their sudden guest. They followed her with the black sunken sockets of their hollows. It's like I'm stuck in a nightmare where the sun never rises and the night lasts forever. I feel bad for her. Silent and understanding, Astrea watched the garden from her usual spot, ready to keep her company at any hour of the day. Well, hello there. As she approached, Simona noticed a single rose resting by the pedestal. Did CASSIEL bring it here? She could find no explanation for his strange treatment of a mere statue. He sits here for hours bringing her flowers, as if he would have known her personally, I feel. Another grim thought washed all the color out of the already gray area around her, as if it's a grave. Ooh, I didn't think about that. The faint rustling of the bushes grew louder, as if someone was trying to approach stealthily. All you have to do is think of him, and there he is again, as if by magic. CASSIEL? The rustling sound slowly got closer, without a voice accompanying it. It could be hiding anyone. It could be an animal. Bye. Her mind tentatively suggested that this was a garden, not a vast forest, and though there was no fence inside, beyond that unseen border was a city, not a black abyss. CASSIEL? Simona repeated his name louder, her voice more demanding. She didn't try to hide her concern. Why can't he just reply? Maybe it's not him. Simona. Her name, spoken in a voice as soft as cotton, clogged her lungs and made it impossible to breathe. It's not CASSIEL. I don't know whose voice it is. Simona pressed herself against the statue and fell silent. What are you doing here, sly fox? Oh God, who is that? What do? Run for the house? Run for the house. Run, bitch. Run for the hills. Without thinking about it for long, Simona rushed toward the mansion. I would just want to throw myself into the arms of the only person that is capable to make me feel safe. And in moments like these, honestly, even though I said Mikel, and yes, it would be better for us, in a moment like this, in our delirium, we regain kind of strength and we're a little clearer in the head. We would need David right now. Hug us, make us laugh, everything. The branches she had been able to avoid suddenly encircled her, scratching and clawing at her clothes. A shadow passed, very close, too fast for a human and too big for a beast. Huh? Simona jumped in surprise, barely holding back a scream. What the fuck is going on? With its usual bad timing, her mother's advice came to her with a bright, blinding flash. I should have hidden. Trying not to lose sight of where the shadow had rushed by, Simona retreated deeper into the shrubbery. Under the moon's gaze, she tried to pick up any sounds, but the garden was as silent as she. It's my frayed nerves. The branches pricked at her in an unfriendly manner, trying to coax their guest out of hiding. It was like they didn't want to be dragged into a showdown between a young woman and a shadow. I can't stay here until morning. I have to do something. A familiar guttural growl sounded from behind her. Is it the wolf? Then a black snout appeared, barely recognizable in the darkness of the night. God, it's that wolf! The wolf! Her impulse to approach was restrained by memories of the bloody shred of Oda's torn arm. They kept her from throwing her arms around the beast's neck. Still, a sense of relief washed over her body, relaxing the muscles that had frozen with fear. The wolf lifted his wise, calm eyes to look at her and nudged her hand gently with his cold nose. It's like he's trying to calm me down. What a cutie pie! Can he walk me to the house? For some reason, Simona was in a hurry to find out. She was afraid of provoking aggression with an accidental sudden movement. As if realizing that Simona wouldn't budge, the wolf decided to act on his own. In one bound, he leaped across the path and plunged into the darkness out of the tangled branches where Simona had seen someone else's shadow moments before. I hope it's not some unfortunate passerby who wandered into the garden by mistake. A passerby who knows my name and is watching me from the bushes. Scolding herself for her lack of forethought, Simona took a cautious step forward. She listened carefully. Sounds quiet. She lifted her foot, but didn't have time to put it back down on the grass before her mouth was clamped shut by a broad palm and pressed against a rock-hard body. What? What? Oh my God, if you knew how much I want to kill you right now. God damn it. Hush, don't be afraid. It's just CASSIEL. She didn't even have the energy to be outraged. A sudden rush of relief made her legs give out completely. I'm so glad you're here. CASSIEL's whisper sounded close to her ear. I need you to be quiet, not if you understand. Oh, I'll be obedient and do whatever you say. Just shake your head. Yes, thank you, Daddy. Thank you, Daddy. Thank you for helping me. Without knowing why, Simona slowly shook her head from side to side. No. Even without seeing his face, she could clearly imagine his eyes wide with surprise. God, that's not what I wanted to do. What's wrong with me? We want to test this man's patience because we know he loves it. She tried to break free to explain herself, but CASSIEL wouldn't let her. A steady arm wrapped around her waist, pressing harder against his chest. He said, fine, if you don't want to listen to me, I will have to teach you to mind your manners. Heavy breath brushed against her ear. Simona, are you kidding me? What are you talking about? I did nothing. A misunderstanding had turned into a strange situation. The last thing Simona wanted to do was annoy someone who made her feel like a tiny insect in his arms. Damn! How do I explain to him that I'm going to be quiet now? There's someone in our garden and I need you to be quiet. Why do you do everything to spite me? Because I love to get a reaction out of your beautiful ass. Struggling indigently, Simona tried to mumble his name. Only further convinced of her unwillingness to cooperate, CASSIEL sighed tiredly, scorching her skin with his hot breath. By all means, at this point, keep resisting, bitch. Keep resisting. Have this man try, to get closer to us in order to make us comply. And then we will have a very powerful and romantic, passionate makeout session. Do you want me to drag you back into the house and lock you in the bedroom? Only if you lock me to the bed. The handcuffs are in my drawer, you know. Huh? I'm sure he didn't mean anything else by that, but no, he meant exactly that. But the awkward silence convinced her that they had both interpreted a different meaning. Simona relaxed her shoulders and gently patted CASSIEL's large hand with hers. You won't scream. This time she managed to nod her head appropriately. Freeing herself from his strong arm, Simona jumped aside. She studied his scowling face, making sure it was her colleague and not a shadow in the bushes. She absently smoothed the fabric around her waist, feeling the residual warmth beneath her icy fingers. For some reason, she kept her hands where his arm had been. You almost strangled me. Since she was forced to speak in a whisper, trying to sound menacing didn't work. CASSIEL's gaze fell on her hands. As if realizing he may have overdone it, CASSIEL furrowed his brow in guilt. Oh no, baby, it's okay. I like you to be rough. I want it. I'm sorry, did I hurt you? No, baby, it's fine. I'm alive. Simona bit her lip. She regretted blurting it out in the first place. He definitely didn't hurt me. No, I'm fine. Simona, it's important to Cassiel that you're okay. Oh, the cutie pie. I'm sorry, I just love to see when, two characters, start to show that they truly start to care and worry about someone. Like, they don't need to completely change their attitude, but just show that I started to gain a small place in your heart. That's what I'm saying. Simona spoke as quietly as possible, but a slightly hysterical note broke through the whisper. I saw a shadow behind the archway. Got it. Your wolf is already there? Ah! So I suppose that's not normal that you hear. The wolf that saved me from Otto. But your wolf is come to protect you. He's my wolf. The strange thought seemed both obvious and unbelievable. My wolf? Come on, I'll walk you home. It was foolish to resist, trying to keep up without being too loud, Simona asked. I really wasn't imagining it, was I? No. And that's all she wanted to hear, just someone tell her that she's not crazy. In the hallway, CASSIEL stopped. You're not going upstairs? No, I'm going back to the garden. Why can't I stay with you? Noticing the doubt on her face, he added. You're safe in the house. Go to your room. You know this is how people usually die, right? She's like, bitch, you're gonna leave me alone, I'm gonna be strangled. Like, I don't know what's going on. When they split up in the middle of the night and go to different places. Are you serious? I'm very serious. Of course I am. The period. I'm not letting you go alone. Like, if you're gonna go out back there, I'm gonna go with you. If you want me to remain in the house, you will have to stay with me, bitch. I'm not staying alone. Not understanding how anyone could rip you. CASSIEL actually froze in place. Did I bring you here so I could listen to this? Apparently so. You wanted us to be here safe and sound. If you want me to remain here, you will have to stay too, bitch. That's how things go. If we go back together. Period. You let him know. You almost fainted in there, and now you're rushing back. Why? Why indeed? Because he's there. Like, in my eyes, especially like in these stories, like, don't take anything too seriously. I don't think it's such a shame or you should feel so embarrassed for showing that you worry about someone, that you care. It doesn't always necessarily mean that you have romantic feelings for him or her. You can worry about someone and see them as family or as a friend. I don't necessarily need to want to actually have you in bed. Like, I can worry about you. Simona crossed her arms over her chest and looked at CASSIEL in total seriousness. She's like, bitch, I'm not backing down. One way or another. I'll call the police if we need help. CASSIEL moved menacingly towards Simona, trying to catch her. Please do, baby. Please do, daddy. Again, the ass cheeks. Simona dodged him, squealing indignantly. I'm so sorry. What are you doing? I don't have time for this. I'm going to take you somewhere and lock you up. He actually said lock you up. Her fear was washed away by a wave of indignation. I'm trying to help him. Aww. Raphael came out of the living room to the sound of shouting. He stared at CASSIEL in surprise. What are you doing? Please take her away. What do you mean? I need to check the garden. Stay with her. At least that some bitch stays with me, please. Without waiting for an answer, CASSIEL hurried back, leaving Simona alone with a confused Raphael. Don't worry, Simona. CASSIEL is hardly in any danger in the garden. I saw a strange shadow there, and he sensed something too. How come he doesn't understand? What if it's a reporter? It was clearly not human. Maybe it's the one Mom was talking about. What does a reporter have to do with this? But I mean, I am on the skepticism path, so what if it's a reporter? Just shock me. Tomorrow the news will say I've gone completely insane. That I drove that patient crazy and then went on to catch demons. Come with me, Simona. I now understood why she's like, why it's a reporter. Would never been my first guess. Simona obediently followed him into the living room, then sank onto the couch. Poor us. We're so done with this bullshit. Oh, beautiful. Let me allay your fears. Please play for me. CASSIEL is a true warrior. You should not stop him from doing his job. RAPHAEL towered over her, blocking her view of the gloomy garden like a wall. Simona soaked up his calm voice like a sponge and was filled with a strange peace. Now her own behavior seemed ridiculous, and her attempt to stop CASSIEL seemed overly panicked and unnecessary. If they're so calm, then it can't be as bad as I think it is. It only means that they know how to protect themselves. It's late, you better get some sleep. But I promised to wait for CASSIEL. The prospect of dragging herself to her bedroom and looking out the window, thinking of 1,000 ways CASSIEL could die, didn't seem appealing to her. Honestly, I don't feel like sleeping at all. And I don't want to be alone with myself either. Yup, the trauma. And I suggest we distract ourselves with music. That always helps me. I, again, love him. Or you can lie down in this room. I'll be right here. What did I say? I cannot play with him. But I did already start playing with him, didn't I? Maybe I should really go to sleep. Distract yourself with music, thank you. Aren't we disturbing anyone? It's pretty late. There's no one else home, just us. Mikel went to see his superiors in the middle of the night. What a workaholic. That. Where's David? The question just slipped out of its own. David, I have no idea. Is it normal for him to be out so late? A look of genuine surprise blossomed in Raphael's eyes. He asked the question silently, more to himself than to her. Yeah, why do we care? What is her innocent curiosity not my insides, leaving only an unfamiliar feeling of emptiness? Oh God, because we played! Because we play and he likes us. And he can stand when we talk about other guys, because he can see that we're close to CASSIEL. He can see that we're close to David. And I feel like David in general will be like the reason that all of these boys are jealous. Like Mikel could not stand that we said that we're going to a club with David. This man can't stand the fact that we're wondering why he's out at night and not at home right now. And back in the woods, we had Raphael and CASSIEL being at each other's throats. And more like ignoring that in the woods. The next episode, as in last episode, we had David and CASSIEL at each other's throats because David was like, you didn't properly take care of her. And he was like, you have no idea what you're talking about, as in you are no better. Like, they all seem to have a fucking problem with David. Are you worried about him? A little bit. Don't be. It's David. He's probably celebrating another victory. At this, a mix of unpleasant emotions settled in her chest. Yeah. Celebrating how exactly with another woman? Simona rejected jealousy, period, considering it a feeling unworthy of her attention. Instead, she focused on anxiety. I hope he really is okay. Oh, he's fine. We are worried that he could, I don't know, go out with another woman. Come on, I'll show you how to play the piano. Simona suddenly felt like a little girl tricked by her parents into going to music school. Her nervousness began to grow. You're not going to hit my hands, are you? Excuse me? The bewildered expression on his face brought a smile to hers. They usually hit a child's hands when they got something wrong. Really? That doesn't sound very usual. The looming, heavy silence made her heart clench. Raphael's gentle face was marked by pity that she didn't want to see. But why did I say that? Raphael forced a smile and suddenly spoke with an uncharacteristic casualness. I promise I won't raise my voice at you, even if you turn out to be the worst student ever. Oh, Raphael, he's such a pure-hearted cutie pie. He needs to be protected. Simona continued gratefully, just as deliberately cheerful. I don't think you even know how to yell or get angry. It's the quiet ones, bitch. It's the quiet ones. Then you have nothing to fear. I love Raphael. Simona stopped near the piano bench and hesitated. When you say you'll show me, what do you mean? He will teach you. Lay his hands over yours, allow you to. Just sit down, Simona, and try not to be nervous. Too late for that. Simona lowered her fingers to the cold keys, silently stroking each smooth, pleasant surface. Is it very difficult? Her newly appointed teacher stood behind her. Simona couldn't see him, but she could feel him. Starting is always the hardest part. She didn't want to disturb the peace of the instrument. It's like trying to speak in a language I don't know. Suddenly she felt Raphael's cool hands. His slender fingers covered hers gently. That's how you teach? They guided her to the right keys and pressed lightly. The first sound was quiet and tender, like Raphael's voice. Simona relaxed, allowing him to touch her, to guide her. Can you feel the music flowing and changing? Raphael's hair swayed and tickled her cheekbone as he leaned closer. He smelled fresh and light and some kind of flower. Simona closed her eyes. She tilted her head back just a little and inhaled deeply. Yes. His arms encircled her on both sides. He didn't touch her, but Simona felt his embrace so clearly. The sounds mingled with the scent, flaring like sparks through the room, fading and reigniting. It was as if Simona was igniting with them, filling the space with her emotions, enveloping Raphael in warmth. From measure to measure we move forward. This is how something beautiful is born. Picture, 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 picture. Oh my god! Oh, he looks fucking gorgeous. My apologies. Oh, this is beautiful! And Simona was filled with it. A tenderness grew inside her along with a desire to melt into these sounds with Raphael, to become one with him, with the music, with the scents, and to stay here forever. And serene peace and beauty. It's beautiful! No, bring the picture back! Her hands stopped on the keys and the sounds faded away. Opening her eyes wide, Simona turned her head and met Raphael's gaze. He was staring at her too. They both froze for a moment, their breaths mingling. Oh my god, kiss, 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 kiss. Fuck you! I can't. Raphael was the first to pull away. Oh god. You have talent, Simona. Why are you flattering me? No, honestly, a few more lessons and we'll be playing full-handed. Bye. Simona put as much meaning into the words as possible when she said, Thank you, Raphael. And now I think you should at least try to get some sleep. You're occupying more and more of Raphael's thoughts. I could smack myself for it, but I wanna spend time with this beautiful bitch. Raphael cracked open the window and the pleasant coolness of the night rushed into the room. Simona felt like breathing it in while wrapping in a blanket with only her nose sticking out. All reasons to refuse sleep were taken away by the light breeze. Noting her sleepy gaze, Raphael nudged her toward the right decision. By the way, the sofa isn't as uncomfortable as it seems. All right, you have convinced me. But I'm just going to lie down until CASSIEL returns. Simona settled in comfortably and listened to the silence of the house. You can't even hear the noise of the city. It's like a kind of magic. Her thoughts quiet under the weight of the blanket that covered her. Aww. After tucking her in, Raphael stepped back to the window. Aww. He gazed thoughtfully into the pre-dawn darkness. Raphael? Sleep, Simona. Think of nothing. What about you? I'll be here. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm weak for Raphael. He's like such a cutie pie. He needs to be protected. Watching over you while you sleep. I am in love with him. He reminds me of Stefan from the Vampire Diaries, like in season 1. Like him knowing that Damon threatened to hurt Alina, and he felt the need to stay outside of her bedroom, even though she was like, I can be with you, but he felt the need to protect her. Simona turned away from him and caught sight of the sky. Good night. Good thing the night is coming to an end. The black canvas was slashed with ragged stripes of belated sunlight. Dawn was a welcome sight, unusual red. Simona woke up in her own bedroom. Her first instinct was to separate the events of the previous day into dreams and reality. She was equally concerned about how she had ended up here. And one of them carried you here. Did Raphael carry me here? Or CASSIEL? The labyrinth of her memory was frustratingly empty. I need to finally get changed, but I should take a shower first. No thank you. Oh, no thank you. No. Y'all, they are all so fucking ugly. They are all ugly, y'all. I don't even know. I'm just gonna take one of them. Like, can I change the outfit, please? Y'all, they're really fucked up with the outfit choices in this episode. Look at this. Am I pregnant? Simona stretched. She decided to check if CASSIEL had returned from the night patrol. Of course, it's unlikely that they would have let me sleep until noon if something had happened, but still. Simona didn't make it to the hallway. Her phone, left on the nightstand, rang angrily for a moment. It filled the room with the suffocating worries of yesterday. It's just a phone, Simona. Keep your wits about you. But with each step, her heart pounded harder and harder. Simona looked at the screen and was surprised to see that the number was unidentified. That's new. Pick up the phone. What kind of a bitch is actually deciding to get us in our panties in a twist in the middle of the morning? Her heart filled with anxiety, swelling and pressing against her ribs from the inside. That's what happens to me sometimes, honestly. I won't let fear control me. Fighting back a shudder, Simona answered the call. Yes? A pleasant male voice crept into her head. Hello, Simona. Hello? What? That was Professor Sinna. The surname spun around in her memory, conjuring up faces of people from the past, but she couldn't find a specific person. Rather than look foolish, Simona decided to come clean right away. Sorry, but I don't remember you. Velvety laughter flowed from the receiver like a murmuring stream. I'm not surprised. You didn't attend any of my lectures. I taught forensic physiatry. The image of a handsome young man unsuccessfully pierced by half the university immediately appeared in her mind. For some reason, I was more intimidated by him than attracted to him. How can I help you, Professor? I hardly need help, Simona, but I hear you do. The thing is, I've been asked to conduct a psychiatric evaluation of your unfortunate patient. Fighting the urge to hang up, Simona squeezed out. I don't think I can discuss him with you. You can't. But I want to talk about you. About me? The picture in her head wasn't adding up. She felt like someone was lying to her. I'm sorry, but I don't want to talk about myself. Oh, path of skepticism. If you have something to say it directly. Why are you doing this, and how much will it cost me? A quiet chuckle eased her excess caution, and the voice became firmer and rougher. So you like to have everything told to you straight away? Well, so do I. My gesture of goodwill is not to you, but to your friend Ruth. The rest is up to you. I don't know how Ruth found him, but he's taking a big risk just by talking to me on the phone. Tears welled up in her eyes, and she realized that her friend was not only praying tirelessly for her, but also seeking a solution to her problem. I love her friend. Oh, Ruth. In spite of everything that has piled up against you, you still answer calls from unknown numbers. That says a lot about you. I'm sure you've been harassed by reporters. You command respect. I'll be waiting for you in my office in an hour. I'll text you the address. And don't worry, Simona, just come. Reputation! It was hard to believe that the problem could solve itself like this. As she looked at the address, Simona felt like she was also looking deep inside herself. She refused to allow herself to celebrate prematurely or even to think that Professor Sinner could help. I'm full of mixed feelings. Maybe some kind of test. People don't just help for free. I mean, partially she has a point, but I feel like this is a test. If you truly want your life to become better, you will have to be willing to sacrifice things. So I think it's a test. He has to be impartial, but instead he wants a face-to-face meeting. Does he want to make sure I'm really guilty? She just didn't have the energy to guess anymore. I'll find out if everything's okay with CASSIEL, and then I'll go straight to the professor. CASSIEL wasn't in his bedroom. After wandering around the house for a bit, Simona found him in the kitchen. She couldn't contain her joy. You're safe. What a relief. Just in case, she scanned him with her eyes to make sure he was indeed uninjured and all his limbs were intact. I didn't find anyone in the garden. The shorter sentence sounded like a reproach, but CASSIEL quickly corrected himself. I don't know who was there, but they left no trace. I see. Are you celebrating something today? Simona raised an eyebrow in question, not sure what he meant. You're dressed up. Never mind. Aww. That was him saying that we look cute. Are you going somewhere? Just for a couple of hours. I'll be back soon. Do we have a case? Well, exactly. Felonia will come by in the evening and tell you about it. Try not to be late. And give me the address you're going to. Ooh! Immediately invested. I'm in love. He's like, that way I know where you are. What for? For the fact that maybe he needs to bust you out. Period. Love him. Just in case. Alright, let's assume there's really nothing strange about that, especially after yesterday. CASSIEL didn't join her for breakfast. Simona had a quick bite and rushed to call a taxi and right the wrongs of the past. This is intriguing. As she left the kitchen, she nearly crashed into David as he made his way to the second floor. Finally, this bitch ass. We've just seen him. Oh, sorry, I didn't see you there. But I saw you right away. You blinded me with your beauty as usual. Ha. Well, where has your fine ass been the entire day? After a witches' gathering. To meet an old acquaintance. Is the meeting far away? Everyone wants to know, y'all. Not really. Let me give you a ride. Period. And he wants to make sure that we arrive there safe and sound. Weren't you just on your way to your bedroom? I was, but not anymore. He's like, we're way more interesting than sleep. Goddamn, in love. Why? The last thing I want to do when I see you is sleep, little witch. In love! I'm sorry, I'm grinning my ass off, y'all. I just love the fact he calls us little witch, first off. And second, I just love to see that there is someone like out there not actually giving a damn how cringe he sounds by saying, yeah, you're all I think about, etc. Like, this is also like, it demands respect because it's very rare that you actually find someone that is that honest. And while Mikel is more like calm about the entire thing and just accepts that he like has these conflicting feelings when it comes to us, this man is literally just adding to what we already know, sort of. Like, he's just saying out loud that we're occupying his thoughts. He's just saying out loud that he's worried, that he wants to spend time with us. Love it. I'm very curious. What is it to you? What is it you want, then? I can tell you on the way. Bye. Let's make sure that the car does not remain stained, okay? The offer was very tempting, but you didn't want to burden the tired man. Get some rest, David. I'll see you in the evening. Who am I to resist your charms and go against your wishes? He gently touched her hand and brought it to his lips. Oh my! And left a light, airy kiss on it. What did I say? The gentleman. I'll be looking forward to the evening. After calling the taxi, Simona stood still for a moment. If the professor really helps me, will I go back to Godlam? And leave Astrea? Not if I can help it. Not with these bitches. Since she had only been here for a week, it was strange that she was even asking herself this question. It's been 6 episodes and we're just here for a week. All I wanted was to get my steady life back. But as she stepped out of the house, Simona caught herself thinking something strange. It's as if threads from the heart of this house are pulling me back. The reception area was tastefully and inexpensively furnished. It was not like a typical hospital. It was hard to understand exactly what Professor Sinner did. Simona found no brochures about his work. Trying not to look foolish or glance around too much, she immediately approached the pretty woman at the reception desk. Good afternoon, I'm here to see Professor Sinner. My name is... Yes, I know who you are. Please wait a moment, I'll let him know you're here. Simona sat down in a chair and tried to play out possible dialogues in her head. There weren't many. I have no idea what he wants to talk to me about and how it will help me. Looking up, she noticed that the woman was staring at her intently. What? Path of high reputation, period. If you don't mind my saying so, I'm waiting for that bastard to be locked up as well. And for your license to be restrained. Thank you. Rest assured, Professor Sinner will help you. He can do anything. The woman exuded a kind of fanatical admiration that made Simon uncomfortable. Fortunately, the office door swung open, saving her from the tense conversation. Ooh, alright. Who are you? He looking a little strange to me, but he ain't ugly. In parts. Simona, please come in. Who are you and what do you want? Standing at the door was a man who had not changed at all over the years. The same facial features, not perfectly symmetrical, but attractive in their perfection. People like him are either disliked or drive people crazy. Very few people are just indifferent to him. She wanted to believe that she was one of those who stood firmly in the middle. But now I think he's quite charming. Oh my gosh, another love interest. Who is he? He's quite charming. Why did I think otherwise before? Come in, Simona. Sit wherever you like. The spacious office did not make the professor's line of work any clearer. It was hard to tell if he conducted consolations or therapy sessions here. I wonder if he still teaches. Simona chose a chair for some reason. The professor stood in front of her. Doesn't he want to sit down? The proximity made her uncomfortable. Should I ask him to step back or should I stand up myself? Honestly, did I take your chair? As if shaking off a trance, the professor shook his head. No, don't get up. I want to ask you a question. Looking up at him was awkward. Simona felt silly and vulnerable. Of course, I'm all ears. How did you end up at Astrea? The question was unexpected, but after a few seconds, Simona found an explanation for his query. Is he trying to figure out if I'm mentally unstable? It happened by chance. A newspaper clipping with the job listing was placed on my desk at Gotland while I was packing my things. His voice seemed to be filled with cool skepticism. Not this man too on the skepticism path. And who put it there? I suspect it was a parting joke from one of my colleagues. They probably found it amusing. And you went along with the joke so easily? It was hard to explain her behavior. That day I felt like my life was over. Years of study, practice, and hard work went down the drain. I think I was angry at myself, at my colleagues, at the whole world. I called immediately to show them that they couldn't break me with a piece of paper. And you went even further. What is he trying to accomplish? Path of skepticism. Of course this all seems strange to you, Professor Sinner. But I'm a sound mind and am all fully aware of what I'm doing. Whatever they do at Astrea, no one is forcing me to worship the devil or catch ghosts in a jar. I'm just giving them some external counsel. And I'm fine with that. And most importantly, I feel like I matter there. The poignant sentence made the professor smile. An interesting conclusion. Do your colleagues think the same? Simona knew how silly this would sound, as she had only worked at Astrea for less than a week. Still, she spoke from the heart. Absolutely. Maybe not all of my new colleagues agree, but the agency director gave me a very warm welcome. And I believe that he will fight for me if necessary and not throw me out like Godblam did. Period. We're still bitter bitches. As if convinced of something, the professor finally took a step back. He walked thoughtfully to his desk, sat down, and rested his chin on his interlocked fingers. You can call me Malik. He Malik! Oh, he's Malik. Okay. Alright, Malik. Shock me. Simona nodded hesitantly and allowed herself to relax a little. Sitting next to him, I feel like a young student again. Take an exam I'm not prepared for. He actually gives off the exact same vibes that Mikel is giving. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. Like, he's actually giving, like, dumb vibes. Like, sit down, baby girl, I need to punish you. I know I'm promised I'd only talk about you. But unfortunately, there's less time than I thought. So our options are limited. One way or another, you need to tell me what happened that day. It would be strange if he didn't bring it up. After all, it's the only way he can help me. Besides, he's the only one who's setting himself up by talking to me, not the other way around. Why did you think that the cause of the attack was his illness? Simona saw no other option. I cut his hand with a letter opener, but he didn't even care about his own blood. He almost killed me, but at some point he suddenly stood up. He cried, threw a tantrum, and talked to someone, refusing to follow mysterious orders. And then he threw himself out of the window. So he lapsed into a coma and deprived you of the chance to justify yourself. Maybe you can find an explanation for his behavior, but I can't. You never suspected I might be ill. He was admitted after a failed suicide attempt following the death of his wife. I had time to evaluate him from antisocial personality disorder. Among other things, all his tests came back negative. I don't think anti-personality disorder is a thing here. But continue, girl. Yes, he was depressed, but he was getting better. Not necessarily. We humans, again, we have like a limit to pain. And when we have the feeling that no matter how hard we try like to get better, to heal from or past trauma, we feel that no matter how long we are in those therapy sessions, it's not really getting better for us. And we feel that the time keeps on dragging on and on and on. And we don't necessarily feel better about ourselves because subconsciously we're also like, I'm trying to talk about anything that literally has nothing to do with what truly is actually nagging at our mind, or mental situation becomes worse and we have the feeling that we're wasting our time in those therapy sessions, and that can actually make us become extremely unhinged and reckless, and it can actually lead you to do something that you normally would do if you are completely like right in the head. I feel like this was more like a frustration leading to some extremely, let's call it stupid behavior. He was treated with a course of antidepressants and had no side effects. Sometimes I have the feeling that our MC is a little bit too positive about the entire thing. Depression is not easily cured. And you, as a psychologist, you need to see when a patient is like trying like to pretend that things are getting better and hope for him not to have to continue coming to therapy sessions. Because depending on what he has done or what happened to him, he could be forced to attend therapy sessions so that the state or the government doesn't believe that he's a public danger. If you had asked me at the beginning of that session if he would attempt suicide again, I would have firmly said no. But it did attempt it again, and even tried to take you with him. Simona knew what Malik was getting at. She responded the same way that she had to Godland management. Yes, I thought he was getting better, but I was wrong. I don't know what happened to him, but the person who came to the last session was completely different. Malik looked at her without pause, but his gaze was strangely detached. It was as if he was really interested in the conversation. This man taking pleasure in our struggles. What? Indeed, everything you described sounds like an acute psycho episode. But when you're his opponent, it'll be best if you don't talk about it. His insanity play will save him from prison, but it will bury you. And if anyone raises the issue of attempted incitement to suicide, you may not leave the courtroom. Am I supposed to lie that he's healthy? Mentally. Physically, hardly anyone could call him healthy right now. Am I really considering this? It's absolutely necessary. Honestly, so controversial. Honestly, in general, this situation is fucked up. I need to lie about his circumstances in order to save myself. Because technically, it would be coming back to us. Because we are a psychologist and we're supposed to be capable to actually connect the dots and see if someone is faking or if someone is actually capable to get better. And actually making a false analysis could actually cost not only his life, but also our life. Because there is a reason why people go to therapy sessions. And it's not always when you have been through some awful moments like depression, or you lost someone dear to you, or you've been in a car accident and now you're petrified of cars or something, and you need a psychologist to help you move over that. They can also be extremely mental unstable, and they go to a psychologist and they need to make the evaluation so that they can get the help that they need in order for them to be capable to be fine again. So it would come back to bite us in the ass. In my eyes, it's so controversial. We're supposed to actually help him. and we need to lie our ass off so as not to actually end up in prison. I don't deserve to go to jail, and neither does he. He belongs in an institution. Oh, both! And I need to rethink my life. I can hardly bring myself to continue seeing patients after what had happened. At least don't say you think you can't be held accountable for his actions. Unfortunately, I cannot help you unless you want me to. Besides, what makes you think it's just an illness and not some normal aggression directed at you? I beg your pardon? For example, let's say I find out that this nice guy keeps your photos under his pillow. Will that make you feel better? No. If you learn that he fantasized about strangling you every day, can you give us a little light then? Simona felt terribly dirty and couldn't shake the feeling that everything Mikel was saying might be true. I mean, it could be possible that he actually was imagining us as his saving grace. And he was like trying to get close to us, and when we wouldn't budge, he actually felt the need to like get rid of us, because in his eyes it was like, if I can't have her, no one else can. Did you ask him about his sexual preferences, or did you decide not to do that kind of nonsense? I had no reason to ask if he had any paralyzes or fetishes. Paralyzes are active, intense, and persistent sexual interests. And for those that don't really understand what that has to do with anything, when you are depressed or like extremely immersed in like pain, and you experience like anxiety attacks, panic attacks, like especially like any sort of negative feelings that could resolve to depression, you have a tendency to like either lose interest in sex, or your desire for sex and intimacy can grow. Because again, I said it so many times, so I feel like I need to connect the dots here. I said it so many times. When you oh god, I forgot. I forgot. No matter. When you decide, when you become depressed, you can experience a lot of negative emotions. Like anxiety attacks, panic attacks, but you can also experience things like you losing interest and in sex, or gaining interest in sex. Now I remember. A lot of people have the tendency to feel that in order for them to actually drown out their pain, they need to actually like be intimate with someone, hoping that the desire that they would feel in that moment when they actually are intimate with someone can actually like make their pain subside for at least a few minutes. But that's not a good way to go about this. And again, that is like connected to the depression part. The stronger your mental illness, as in the more negativity you have inside of yourself, the higher the possibility that you can either lose interest in sex, as in which would lead to you growing more into like becoming numb, calm, detached from your emotions, not being capable to show emotions, or you grow like into some sort of psychosis where you show extreme emotions, like being extremely impulsive. You feel the need to push yourself onto someone in order like for them to like satisfy your desires. Like you insisting on your point of things. That's so painful. And during our session, when he showed his true face, what did he say? Simona remembered every word her patient had said. He believed I came to his dreams every night, and he gave us both pleasure by hurting me. Yeah. It seemed that Malik knew everything and more, and this whole conversation was just a strange whim of his. All this chatter could have been reduced to one question. Was she willing to lie for freedom? I did say. I'm not rushing you, Simona. Think carefully. There's still time. But don't think of him as a victim just because he didn't do enough to get society on your side. Because that side would only be the edge of your grave. The professor unclasped his fingers and leaned back in his chair. Their conversation was obviously over. The decision now rests with me. Thank you for your time. I promise this conversation will remain between us. Of course, I'll call you in a few days. Simona tried to get up, but heavy thoughts seemed to press her into her chair. I screwed up and now I'm trying to get away with it. It's so vile. Malik looked out the window as if he immediately forgotten that someone was in his office after saying goodbye. Seems like I can just leave quietly. You know what? Stay a moment longer. Trying to get his attention, Simona cleared her throat quietly. Malik responded to her attempt with a faint smile. Ooh! Period. Do you have any other questions for me? What questions could I have for him? Get to know him better. Aww. Funny. Simona couldn't shake the feeling that Malik saw right through her. I mean, he also is capable to analyze. So, of course, he would be capable to read us, just like we're capable to read other people. It's unfair that I know nothing about my savior. Before I entrust you with my fate, I'd like to get to know you as much as possible. Malik arched an eyebrows wryly and spoke almost in a whisper. If you're looking to be more closely acquainted, I'm afraid the door is unlocked. Did it really come out like that? It's more shocking that he actually felt the need. He was actually down for it, ladies and gentlemen. He was like, if you wanted us to be acquaintance, like, I wouldn't mind giving it to you here, but the door is not locked. I'm joking, you know. No, you weren't. And I actually am so attracted to you for that. Don't be so serious. Oh, I was living my best life. I don't know what you mean. Smiling, Malik ran his gaze over her flushed face. He enjoyed flustering me on purpose. Oh, I'm living. He actually also giving some sort of like David vibes. Ask your questions, Simona. If my biography can put you at ease, I'd be happy to share it with you. Funny. I prefer to have you answer. That depends on what kind of biography you have. His sex life is as long as the Tower of China. The professor clearly wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty, but he was somehow never involved in any scandals. Which is odd considering what he's offering me. What is your work related to these days? Are you curious about what I do for a living? His question sounded so unexpectedly casual that Simona would have blushed again if she could have covered herself with another layer of embarrassment. No, I was trying to figure out what kind of counseling you do now, but I couldn't find any brochures. You won't me. My services don't need advertising, Simona. Clients find me on their own. Funny. That's hilarious. You found me. For a moment, she felt like she had said something stupid. Malik looked at her the way parents looked at misbehaving children, condescendingly. Please punish me then, Daddy. I've been a very naughty girl. Y'all, at this point, I just want a huge-ass orgy with all of these fine-ass men. Is that too much to ask for? Like they've been slowly hinting at it at Heaven's Secret Requiem with all these men. I was willing to be all in for it. Even if the general would have been there, I would have been fine. Like he could have been away, like out of my sight, like... I would have been all in for the orgy. Let me just have that fucking orgy. When I'm bored, I can offer help to those in need myself. I find such clients in prisons, courts, hospitals. Defendants are probably my favorites. Can you guess why? The conversation was drifting, of course, but Simona had never really been in control of its flow. Because their goal has not been proven? because there's still so much hope in them. Have you ever attended a felony trial? His real interest was clearly in that sad place, and a playful gleam suddenly appeared in Malik's otherwise bored eyes. Fortunately, no. Fortunately. If you're empathetic, you'll definitely be impressed by what happens there. So what happens there? Catharsis. Oh my god. So catharsis is understood as the process of releasing mental energy, emotional discharge, and other sources of internal conflict. Ah, okay. The audience craves punishment and the defendant seeks redemption. And there is chaos all around that the people in ropes try to contain. Isn't it like a play? I prefer movie theater. The only difference is that in a courtroom the emotions of the actors are genuine. And the punishment is real. Malik immediately expressed his disagreement with a grimace. Isn't the measly term in prison in exchange for someone's life a farce? For some reason his words had a chilling effect. The atmosphere in the room became oppressive. It was as if the sorrow concentrated in courtrooms had crept into the office from the professor's memories. Shivering, Simona tried to find an answer to the question, but her tongue felt glued to the roof of her mouth. I don't share his views, but did I come here to argue with him? The gleam in the professor's eyes extinguished as quickly as it had ignited. Well, I'm not bothering you anyway. You just wanted to know what I do and I dragged you into a subject that is obviously not the most pleasant. Malik leaned back in his chair and a bored expression returned to his face. Visually, I conduct forensic psychiatrist examinations in cases involving particularly dangerous criminals. But as you've already realized, my doors are open to all who seek redemption. That's nice. That's very rare. He seeks justice. He seeks redemption for those that have been wronged, in love with him. Quite a career change, more drastic than mine. It's scary to imagine where my questions might lead me. Found out if he's afraid of losing his career because of her. Nice one. Simona knew better than anyone that life could turn upside down at any moment. As if she foresaw that her actions would lead to such an outcome, Malik should. But I can't just ask him directly if he's aware of his actions. Simona tried to read the answer to a question in his face. What motivates him? Recklessness, adventure, self-sacrifice. He just said he seeks redemption for those that have been wronged. Malik did not resemble a young man with a fiery heart, but rather an old cynic. He was too smart for foolish heroics, and that makes him so fucking attractive. I'm sorry, y'all. What can I tell you? I love someone who knows who he is and isn't afraid of it. And he's also extremely intelligent. He's capable to read between the lines, which is so fucking rare. And he's not forcing his view onto us. He's just showing it. The respect. I love it. So why are you taking the risk? Her wandering gaze lingered on his eyes. The mysterious depth was alluring, evoking a thirst for knowledge. There's definitely some mystery lurking in them. Malik met her gaze calmly, as if he had been subjected to such scrutiny many times before. I doubt I can unsettle him no matter how hard I try. I find it odd that you're not concerned about the moral aspect of this proposal. Did I go too far? That sounded like a reproach. And in an attempt to justify herself, Simona hastily added, I'm trying to embarrass you, no? I just want to understand. In the end, the only embarrassed creature in the courtroom was Simona herself. This man does have the tendency, though, to look at you, and he's capable to read you. He's capable to see you. He sees your distress, and he's capable, to just sniff you out. It makes you feel so embarrassing, and it's very rare for people to have the capability to do that. Malik merely listened thoughtfully and warily to her attempts to express her thoughts gently and tactfully. There are also the people that just are that calm and collected. Nothing that happens is capable to sway them, just like Mikel, y'all. like not showing any emotion, not being capable to be swayed no matter what happens. He never loses sight, he never allows himself to become impulsive, and that's so attractive. I want to break down those bitches' defensive so badly. Your main mistake was not throwing the patient out of the window in self-defense. Damn! Instead, you let him throw himself out. It turned self-defense into God knows what. Although I admit your attempt to protect yourself is commendable. Is it serious? If I were you, I would go down swinging. Y'all, I'm sorry. This man is so attractive to me. I think it's so hilarious because normally when people are calm, like they try to view things from like a positive angle. This man is just fucking aware and he's honest. He's just calm about the entire thing, not allowing like too much emotions to be portrayed in this man's behavior or what he says. He's like, bitch, you should have pushed that bitch out of the window. Now look at what you have. But since we can't go back in time, fight now. Sink your teeth down the bone of the outstretched hand and don't let go until you get what you want. Malik said this as if it were self-evident, but instead of motivating her, the vivid metaphor sent a wave of nausea through her, bringing back memories of recent events. I'm still willing to help you, Simona. Sharpen your teeth and come back. I love it. He says, I am willing to help you if you're willing to fight. Gotta love that bitch. I'm afraid I'll have to face my personality for that. Reshape, sorry. I see nothing wrong with becoming tougher and more stubborn and stronger. What did I say? In love with this man. He says, fight, bitch. You have a reason to live. You did nothing wrong. Fight. The simplicity with which he spoke irritated her, as if being soft is a flaw. Am I supposed to become ruthless and cruel? No, you're supposed to become a little more selfish. As in, believe in yourself for a change. Malik rolled his eyes. Me, as if Simona had finally disappointed him. He exclaimed, cruelty. What a travel label. People are willing to put it on anything that doesn't fit into typical worldview. Period! And he aware too, y'all. I love him. God damn. And he knows about psychology. Oh, God. For a moment, Simona thought a growl came out of him along with the world. No. Cruelty is life. Period. Life sucks. Do we blame the wolf for the cruelty of eating a sheep? That's life. That's the circle of life. We also eat animals, don't we? Or a woman for shooting a rapist. Period. He says these are things that happen. Like, even if sometimes we wish that we could change a specific aspect of our life, sometimes life sucks, and sometimes in order for us to survive, in order to give ourselves the opportunity to continue to live and to experience life the fullest, we will have to make sacrifices, even if that means that it sometimes goes against our morals. But we deserve to live. If we are still alive, then it's because we are still meant to exist. We're still meant to experience some things. And life is short enough as it is. Why should I give up the little life I have? No one cornered me, and there will be no excuses for my cruelty. I've been backed into a corner for a long time, and to deny it would be very foolish. You literally went away to work for Astrea because you had nothing left here. Malik's gaze became predatory in its fascination. There's a potential in you, but something is holding it back. That's something we can work on. What do you mean? He wants us to become tougher. He wants us to become the best version of ourselves. He sees the potential that we carry on the inside, and he wants us to fight in order for us to actually become the best we can be. That's what your soulmate does. That was no clarifying question. Malik ended the conversation with a single sentence. The decision is undoubtedly yours, and whether you want to be predator or prey in this world is also up to you, period. He said, fight! Stand up and fight! He's just full of extremes. No, I love him for this. Your curiosity amuses the professor. I love him. Ask about his connection. Simona was unsure how to approach the question, so she decided to start from a distance. Why did you grant Ruth's request? Malik's answer took her even further away from the main point. I'm worried about the price she'll have to pay. Yes. I like to repay my debts myself. Malik smiled and shrugged. Unfortunately, I don't need anything from you. Her pride was wounded and she felt indignation rising, but she quickly fell silent in shame instead. Surely he wouldn't compromise himself for my charming smile. But don't worry, Ruth and I are old friends. I won't ask more from her than she can give. Why is this the first time I'm hearing about their friendship? I'm lucky she happens to have friends like that. Didn't she tell you? The innocent question made her feel uncomfortable. It's like I don't care about my friend and don't know anything about her. Although Simona tried to hide her irritation, she still replied through gritted teeth. I don't recall. Perhaps as a student, she wisely kept her affair with the professor's secret. And then who knows, maybe it became a habit. Even though we both left the walls of your old institution, we took that exciting secret with us. She's sleeping with him too? Babe! I don't even know what else to ask after such a revelation. Girl, no. Wonderful. Simona rose from her chair and Malik stood up with her. He led her to the door and reached for the handle. No, I still need to know the price for the service. Block his way. I'm here to stay, bitch. Simona sped up and deftly squeezed herself between the door and the professor. She almost bumped into his chest, but Malik reacted instantly by stepping back. The question. The professor likes your assertiveness. You're welcome, by the way. You wanted me to become the best version of myself? Well, I'm a huge ass stubborn motherfucking bitch. Take the notes. Wait a minute, please. I can't leave your office knowing that someone else is paying for me. Even if you're friends, I don't want Ruth to owe you anything because of me. Think about what you want and only then we will talk again. Fine, if you insist. With a sigh of relief, Simona prepared to leave. Girl, this is the worst thing you could have done because we do not have anything close to this man. So this man will not give a damn of asking the impossible of me. But Malik made a sudden offer that stopped her in her tracks. I know that you and Ruth were part of the same religious cult as children. To be honest, such an experience interests me. Ruth rarely tells me anything about her past, and all her stories seem to have, how shall I put it, important details omitted. I'm willing to help you if you share your story. Her biggest trauma, in exchange for him to help for her freedom. Wow. The honest, unedited story. His cold and passive voice made the blush rush to her ears, drowning out all subsequent words with a pounding pulse. Simone automatically took the business card he offered her and nodded. Just a friendly conversation, nothing more. If you really care about Ruth. Thank you. She barely registered the reception area as the receptionist calling something after her as she left. Simone went home with heavy mixed feelings on her shoulders. It would fix her to have to go through all the negativity that she's been trying to suppress by staying in the state of denial. As she stepped into the hallway, Simona realized from the unusual noise that all of her colleagues had gathered in the living room. Feeling like a student for the second time that day, but now late for class, Simona quickened her pace. She flung open the door. She burned with shame when she realized that everyone was there, even Philonia. Damn, I probably should apologize. Sorry for being late. We're just getting gathered, Simona. Come on in. Mikel appreciates your apology. I mean, if we actually are flinging the door open and are actually shocking everyone because of that, then at least we can apologize. But there were too many interested eyes on her. What? I did nothing. Feels like it's getting hot inside Astrea walls. I mean, with those fine-ass men, I agree. Simona paused for a moment, deciding where to sit. The men were sitting on the couch and Philonia was standing next to Mikel as usual. Ooh, okay. This time we can go to them. CASSIEL, David, next to RAPHAEL. I had all of them though. Oh god. I don't know what to do. Honestly, I'm intrigued to know how this bitch has been doing. We had romantic moments with CASSIEL, with RAPHAEL. How is it going with David? As soon as Simona settled down on the leather couch, David leaned over and whispered conspiratorially,
I told our strict boss that you'd be late for a very important reason.
Thank you. How long her colleagues had actually been waiting for her was anyone's guess. That's so cute. No, stop. They actually gathered here and waited for us to come.
Now that we're all here, let's get started.
A persistent sense of deja vu set in. I'm back to that day when Mikel decided to put me on the agency's main case. As if to confirm her thoughts, Felonia voiced the gist of the meeting.
As you've probably guessed, there's been another murder. The victim is a young woman. She was branded on her chest.
CASSIEL couldn't resist a sarcastic remark.
Did the killer get away? Or did he stab himself in the throat? This time we managed to catch him.
Surprise and unexpected joy appeared on even CASSIEL's perpetually disgruntled face. This changes everything. Despite everyone's impatience, Mikel continued to speak in his unusual slow and calm manner.
Who is he? It's unclear at that moment. He didn't have an idea on him, and he refused to talk to my guys. Maybe it's for the best. Let him tell everything only to you.
Felonia nodded briefly and continued.
The victim was unemployed. She wasn't into anything dangerous or excessive. She was just the daughter of a wealthy parents. I'll find out the detail, but that's all for now. Was the killer caught this morning? At noon. I'll spend the night at my station. In the morning he'll go to court, then to a maximum security prison. It will be much harder to talk to him. We need to hurry. Take whoever you think you need, Felonia, and go.
Simona saw the look directed at her. What? What did I do?
Simona, I could use you.
Me? Trying to hide her surprise, Simona stood up quickly. I think CASSIEL has a better chance of getting someone to talk. Yes, of course.
The guys who brought him in said the suspect was acting really weird, like he was possessed, but I don't think he's possessed.
God, I can tell you right now he's not possessed. Uh-huh. We'll figure it out.
Would you like some company? There's no need.
Oh, there is very much need. Can we take all of you fine-ass men with us?
We don't want to unsettle the police. It's enough that one civilian will be with Felonia. It's unlikely that anyone will ask questions. Still, we don't need unnecessary attention.
The woman promised not to be long, then said their goodbyes and headed to the police car parked near Astrea. Despite the late hour, there was the hustle and bustle of life. In the parking lot was a van used to transport prisoners. Sleepy paramedics smoked next to an ambulance. Apparently they were sent in case the suspect tried to commit suicide. Officers in full gear talked in the station with a police dog sitting next to them. Getting ready to leave in the morning? Felonia approached the duty officer, but her question was drowned out by a monotonous hum. Without asking any question, the man gave her the room number and stared at the monitor. He didn't even look at the guest's face. Now that's trust in your superiors.
He's waiting in the interrogation room. Let's go.
Y'all, imagine that's the man that attacked us. There was nothing in the observation room but a few chairs and a table with some kind of equipment. The women were separated from the interrogation room by a large one-way mirror. The detainee was on the other side.
You can't see you, but I'll hear you.
Felonia adjusted some knobs on the equipment and stood next to her colleague.
The glass is unbreakable and he's chained to the table. He can't get free.
Felonia, I'm calm. You're right here. And so is your gun, so I have nothing to fear.
Yeah, right.
Felonia's glad that you trust her. I do trust her. She actually gives off feelings of familiar environment.
I'm going to go in there and ask him a few questions. You'll watch his reaction.
Got it.
The sound works both ways, so try to keep quiet if you can. When I'm done, you can ask questions.
If we need to run tests, it's better to do them face to face.
Just try to figure out what his diagnosis could be, if any.
It's almost impossible to determine anything this way, but I'll try. Simona moved a little closer to the mirror and scrutinized the man's face. His gaze melancholy into the distance and didn't look violent. Even if he was faking it, why isn't he faking it now? The stranger's profile seemed painfully familiar. Ah! 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 The man that tried to grind on us when we went out with David. Where have I seen you before? Try to remember. Oh, we know who he is. I remember. Straining her memories, Simona mentally sorted through places where she might have encountered the man. Someone's patient. Did we get to go to school together? I don't think so. Where else could I have seen him? The party, the bar. As if I met people anywhere outside of those places. An idea sparked in her mind. Thanks to Astrea, she had recently been introduced to more places to meet people. I saw him at the club when Emma's sister was killed.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm very much sure. Yes, he hit on me, tried to buy me a drink and stuff. The joy of being useful was pushed aside by fear that welled up in her throat. Did he want to drag me into that room?
That's great news, Simona. Because of that idiot Charlotte and her messed up cameras, we have no footage. Witnesses are just what we need right now.
Glad I could help. Your choice will affect the story. Reputation. Valonia turned a knob and touched a finger to her lips. As if sensing something, the man raised his head and stared at the woman. He can't see us. What is he looking at?
I won't tell you anything, you're a bunch of corpses. You don't need to know the truth. Better start digging your own graves. Because the beast is already here and you won't escape.
Forgetting about being cautious, Simona whispered. Has you mentioned the beast before?
I don't know.
Stretching his chains to their limits, the man moved his head and sniffed. Oh, fuck no. Oh, no, that's just fucking insane.
Simona?
Huh?
I was such a curious rat not falling into a trap and broken our back yet. Did you introduce yourself to him at the club?
No. Suddenly the sound of metal screeched in their ears. The man yanked his hands, ripping off the ring attached to his handcuffs, and then lunged at the glass. The fuck? He insane? He mental?
What? How did he?
Me! Felonia ran to the door. The man slammed his head into the mirror with all his might, like a flat desperate for freedom. Each word was accompanied by a dull, monotonous thud. Oh my god, he's trying to break. Oh my god, he's trying to break the mirror.
He's already here. Here, Simona, can you feel it? Didn't Mommy tell you to hide?
It was him! Because how else would he know?
Do you know she's being boiled in a cauldron by the devils? I'll have them rip that bitch's tongue out if she can't keep her mouth shut.
Unable to utter a word, Simona watched in a daze as Valonia pinned the man to the floor. That was the crunch of a broken bone, but somehow the laughter didn't stop. Yeah, because he mental. There are people that, y'all, I don't know what to say. Like, I'm sorry, I need a few seconds. There are people that fall into psychosis when they have seen so much awful shit to the point where they have been traumatized to that point where no amount of therapy would ever be capable to make them come back. They have seen too much. They have been broken. And it's so difficult to actually break someone. But when they are broken, it's like with those people that actually go into like a mass of people and then they actually have like a bomb attached to themselves and then they actually explode, killing as much people as they can. Or like a man, I remember that one man was like driving a bus and he actually drove into a hall with a lot of people in hope to kill as many people as he could, and then he actually exploded. Like, that's when you arrive at that point, you actually enjoy pain being inflicted on you because you can't feel anything else anymore. Like, you're up here with all your mental pain and trauma. It felt like his voice had burrowed into her head, clinging to her like a thick with a death grip. It injected venom, and even when the source of the noise was taken away, the laughter continued to echo in her mind. God damn. No. That's way too much, even for me. That's way too much. We need to know what happens next episode. I don't even know what to say right now. I'm just actually petrified. Like, this man is fucking insane. That would be way too much for me. But we will see what next episode will be like. I hope you enjoyed this video with me. Tell me in the comments below what you think was best, and I will see you in another video. Bye.